The chat's popping YouTube. So, I recently reread my favourite piece of pro-Lenin propaganda, Animal Farm. I was feeling in a commie mood after the Communist Manifesto video, and, yeah, let's get into it.
We can't be free, can't have no peace till we're on the same team, but y'all are sheep.
So this book is commonly misunderstood. This book is not anti-socialist or anti-communist, really. I don't know how people read it that way. Orwell was an avowed socialist, supposedly, and this book is clearly just a critique of Stalin and the Soviet Union, not communism in general, but we'll get there in the analysis section.
I love cocaine, cause it got me feeling like I'm Superman.
So this story opens on Karl Marx, Old Major. He's an old boar that lives on the manor farm. The farm is owned by the bourgeoisie fuckhead Mr. Jones. He's
drunk all the time, even during the day,
and runs the farm. Anyway, one night, Old Major tells all the animals on the farm that he had a dream and wants to tell them all about it. So we are introduced to most of the characters. There are pigs and 3 dogs called Bluebell, Jessie, and Pincher. There are sheep, pigeons, chickens, all kinds of things like that. Then there are a few other named characters, some horses, one called Boxer, one called Clover, one called Molly. Molly is a prissy bourgeoisie bitch who's a show horse, Boxer is an absolute Chad himbo, and Clover is an old mare who has had way too many children, apparently. There is Benjamin the donkey, the absolute giga Chad. There are even called Moses, who is basically an Uncle Tom, and there is Muriel, an old goat. I don't think I missed anyone. It's not amazingly relevant if I did, but there's a lot of named characters in this book. Anyway, so Old Major spits a thesis on animal communism, called animalism, saying that humans suck and are their enemies, and why do they live miserable lives on the farm while the humans rule over them and get to live it up. Basically, the animals need to seize the means of production and take over the farm, and that all animals are equal. He then sings the absolute certified club banger, Beasts of England, and everyone joins in.
Men of England, wherefore plough for the lords who lay ye low?
They get really into it until the drunken Mr. Jones starts shooting at them in an effort to shut them up. This guy does not fuck around. So Old Major dies in his sleep. Can I get an F in the chat for Old Major? But anyway, then 2 pigs, Lenin and Stalin, Snowball and Napoleon, take up his dream and decide to stage a cheeky coup against Farmer Jones. They oust him from the farm and set up the communist utopia of Animal Farm.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
They read out some commandments, 7 to be precise, the 7 commandments of animalism, which are as follows. Whatever goes on 2 legs is an enemy, whatever goes on 4 legs or has wings is a friend. No animal shall wear clothes, no animal shall sleep in a bed, no animal shall drink alcohol, no animal shall kill another animal, all animals are equal. Then they get to work, working the land and enjoying the fruits of their own labour. However, the cows realise that they still need to be milked, and the animals remember how Mr. Jones used to sometimes mix extra milk into their mash. But Stalin, Napoleon, takes the milk away for the pigs. Oh. But aside from that, everything is going great for a bit. All the comrades are working and singing Beasts of England. Boxer, the Chad communist loyalist, adopts his slogan, I will work harder, and Benjamin is kinda just all out of it because he doesn't give a fuck about anything. The bourgeoisie scum isn't really on board with the communism, and she is hiding around, getting out of all the work and hiding a secret stash of ribbons. Moses the Raven, GTFOs, but other than that, everything is going fine. The sheep adopt their favourite chant, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, which they just scream all the time. Whenever anything happens, they just start bleating it. The birds are a little bit concerned about this at first, because they point out they have 2 legs, but the pigs are like, I wouldn't worry about it, you don't really have arms though. Your wings are more like legs, because you can't manipulate objects with them, or something. Anyway, there are all these meetings on a Sunday, and no work on a Sunday. Snowball, drafts up a nice flag and talks about the glorious day that humanity will be overthrown, etc., etc., etc. The meetings always end with their singing of Beasts of England.
Wherefore weave with toil and care the rich robes your tyrants wear.
They start to get the animals to be able to read, which doesn't go too well. The dogs give birth to a bunch of puppies, but Napoleon takes them off to the loft of the old farmhouse so he can educate them personally. This is extremely, extremely important for later. But then it comes to light that the pigs have been mixing the extra mash into their food. However, the commie hype man Squealer
I know the squealers when I see them.
tells the animals not to worry about it. Milk helps thinking or something, and the pigs have to do thinking to run the farm, and so, yeah, whatever, don't think too much about it. It's almost like communism never actually works. However, the bourgeoisie, humans, all across the world hear about the rebellion, and so the communists over at Animal Farm start to send out pigeons to speak of the glory of the rebellion, and to teach all the animals all over the world Beasts of England.
The robes ye weave another wears, the arms ye forge another bears.
Thank you.
Go.
The humans are a bit perturbed, but they think, oh, it's fine, the animals will be dead soon, and there's no way they can ever run a farm. However, the animals on the other farms are hyped about communism, animalism, and so rebellions are stirring. So Jones rallies some lads and decides he's got to take back the manor farm from the filthy animals. They attack, and Comrade Snowball leads a heroic defense. He basically attacks Jones and then makes it look like he's retreating, then leads them into a trap set by Napoleon. They rout the humans and they all run off. So with that done, Snowball gets some medals and the animals all have a party about defending Animal Farm. Huzzah! However, that bourgeoisie bitch didn't help throughout the entire thing. Smolly grows more and more troublesome. She's always late and never works, and then the people see her accepting sugar cubes from some farmer's hands over at a neighbouring farm. That filthy bourgeoisie bitch. So anyway, they go into her stall and find a whole secret stash of sugar cubes. And yeah, Molly disappears after that. It's not actually stated if she actually escaped to another farm, or if the pigs just killed her and said that she did. When I first read this as actual anti-communism literature, I just assumed that they bumped her off, but this book is clearly Leninist propaganda, so I'm not sure if she actually escaped. Either way, she's out of the story. But things were not as hunky-dory as they used to be. Snowball and Napoleon are constantly having arguments, and basically whatever one says, the other will say the opposite. This comes to a head because Snowball wants to build a windmill to make electricity so the animals can have a higher standard of living. He says that it will make life much easier, but Napoleon Dynamite wants to focus on food production instead. Snowball wins, but Napoleon unleashes all the dogs that he had been secretly re-educating for the last little bit, and ousts Snowball and takes over the farm. Then Squealer, Napoleon, and the pigs begin to rewrite some history real quick. They say that Snowball was never a good comrade and that he was actually a coward at the battle with Jones, that he was legitimately running away, and if it wasn't for Napoleon, the day would have been lost. So now Napoleon says that he actually always wanted to build a windmill, and they begin construction. So Boxer is the main help here, but the animals start to build the windmill. Napoleon begins to change some shit up by having works on Sundays now too. Can I get an F in the chat for the Sabbath? However, they start to run into some more problems. They can't actually produce everything they need on the farm, and so Napoleon decides that he's going to start trading with other farms. However, they actually had said earlier that they would never do that. Interesting. Anyway, to do this, he enlists the help of this human dude called Mr. Whimper. Napoleon says that he will start selling some of their food and the hen's eggs to humans to fund the windmill. Hang on a second. Something doesn't add up here. I thought all humans were our enemies, and that we weren't supposed to trade with them.
Now shut the fuck up.
So Squealer comes around and says that there was never any rules about trading with humans, apparently. But anyway, things keep getting worse in Russia, Animal Farm. So Napoleon and the pigs decide that they are going to move into Jones's old farmhouse. However, Squealer manages to smooth everything over with his silver tongue. Then Napoleon takes the title of leader. Hang on a minute, I thought we were all equals, so why do we have a leader exactly? But the animals also learn that the pigs are now sleeping in beds. What? So Clover remembers something. She's pretty sure there was a rule about this. So she goes back over to the wall where all the commandments are written on. She gets Muriel to give it a quick read, and they find Rule 4. However, it now reads, "No animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets." Interesting. How could we have forgotten this? Anyway, so Squealer shows up again and smooths everything over, bringing up the fact that if they don't let the pigs have some good rest, Jones and the humans will come back. And that's generally the threat. If every time you criticize the pigs, they're like, "Well, you don't want Jones to come back, do you?" And the animals are like, "No." So it's it's so effective. Anyway, so the animals continue working hard on the windmill, but then there is a storm and their shoddy workmanship is blown down. However, Napoleon blames it on Snowball, who is the Goldstein of Animal Farm, and sets the comrades back off to build the windmill again, only this time better. They start to blame Snowball for literally everything that happens on the farm, but things are really not going too well. They're running out of food, except for pigs, but Napoleon fakes it till he makes it and claims their food is fine, so the humans don't think anything is wrong. He even fills up food buckets with sand and then dusts the tops with food and shows them to Mr. Whimper. Napoleon then starts to sell eggs to the humans. The hens try to protest, but he just cuts their rations until they agree to work again. Gotta love me some union busting. Then the pigs spin some bullshit about how Snowball is working with some other farmers and is actually looking to help take over the farm. He's preparing an attack right now, so he must be ever vigilant, comrades. They also say that he was working with Jones from the very start and that he actually led the human army at the Battle of the Cowshed. But then there is a big meeting. Napoleon gets his dogs to kill all of his pig detractors. There are a few. and then gets them to kill all the hens that organise the strike. The hens claim that Snowball himself was the one who convinced them to do it, as the icing on the communist cake. So a bunch more animals come forward, including a few sheep who claim that Snowball also appeared to them in dreams or whatever and got them to do bad stuff. They all get killed. And then the pigs get rid of Beasts of England altogether and replace it with a new, definitely not certified club banger called Animal Farm. So a few days after all the killing, a few of the animals remember that there was a commandment about not killing each other. And so they go over to the wall of commandments and give them a quick read, except the 6th commandment now states that no animal shall kill each other without cause. Convenient that, isn't it? So the farm gets worse and basically just becomes a more miserable version of itself when it was run by Jones. Napoleon is now supreme leader and is basically, you ever heard of God? Yeah, he's basically God. Apparently everything that goes well on the farm is because of his direct divine involvement. He even gets his own club anthem and has the lyrics inscribed on the barn across from the commandments. But then a rival farm is rumoured that they're going to attack, try to take over Animal Farm. Before that can happen, however, the Wimble gets finished. Success! It gets named Napoleon Mill, because of course it does. So anyway, Napoleon sells some stuff to another farmer and is planning to use the cash to buy the machinery to operate the windmill, but oh shit! The notes were forgeries. The farm then gets attacked by the farm that sold them the notes, and the windmill gets busted up with explosives. The animals do manage to chase the humans off. And this is treated like the absolute fattest dub in the history of dubs by the pigs. The pigs say that it's no issue, we'll just build a 3rd windmill, and then the pigs go into the farmhouse, crack over some whiskey, and party like rock stars. Hang on a minute, wasn't there a rule about this one as well? Never mind, it actually reads no animal shall drink alcohol to excess. Not no animal shall ever drink alcohol. Silly me. So anyway, the animals begin to rebuild the windmill again. But then Boxer, the absolute Giga Chad, himbo party loyalist, ends up basically dying of exhaustion. So Napoleon sends him off to a horse doctor, but Benjamin reads the words on the outside of the cart that comes to pick him up, and learns that it's actually a horse executioner or something. The animals try to save Boxer, but it's too late. He gets killed, but the pigs say it's fine, he just died in hospital. What a hero. So anyway, years go by, and soon most of the animals don't even remember the pre-rebellion days anymore. The pigs teach the sheep a new chant, which is 4 legs good, 2 legs better, and all start walking around with their hind legs like humans. They start wearing clothes, and they start to get friendly with all the other farmers. Some of the animals go over to the commandments, but they're all gone. And instead, they've all been replaced by all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Then they hear Napoleon and the pigs playing cards in the farmhouse. They sneak in and see them fraternising with a bunch of humans. Then there is a scuffle over cheating in the card game, and as the animals watch on, they realise that they can no longer tell the difference between the pigs and the farmers. The end.
What do y'all believe?
So yeah, that's Animal Farm. It's pretty short, but it's a fantastic little satire about how communist regimes like the Soviet Union just abandon all the tenets of communism and make a worse version of capitalism in their place. A lot of people think that George Orwell's books, like 1984 and Animal Farm, are some masterpieces of anti-communist literature, but that's not actually the case. It's pretty obvious that this whole thing is a critique of the Soviet Union specifically, not communism/socialism. Orwell was an avowed socialist, and as such, this is a critique of how communist regimes get supplanted by a ruling class that basically takes the place of the vanquished bourgeoisie and then makes life worse for everyone. The book obviously focuses on the communist word games they play, where the pigs change the words overnight and stuff like that, but the more specific satire of the book is that Old Major is Karl Marx, Snowball is a sort of Lenin-Trotsky mashup, and Napoleon is Stalin. The farm slowly abandons all the tenets of animalism, the pigs set themselves up as the new ruling class, and finally they become pally with all the other farmers, and the animals can literally no longer tell their difference. Very simple, but very effective satire and social commentary. 5 out of 5 would highly recommend, although I feel most people have probably read this one already. My controversial opinion of the day is that I actually think this is a better book than 1984. I just feel like the themes are more succinctly and more memorably displayed in this book. I think it's a much tighter story. I think it's much easier to understand. I think the satire works way better with animals than it does with just being a very bleak sort of communist thing. I also think the length helps. I think this book is short, it's sweet, it's very easy to understand. 1984 sort of prats around a lot with all the sex stuff and everything in it, and it's just, I found that book very boring. Maybe I should reread it. I was only like 15, 16 when I read 1984. I haven't reread it since. Maybe I should reread it, but the stories are basically identical. Snowball is Goldstein, who is Trotsky / Lenin. The party is the pigs. The proles are the sheep. Right, it's basically the same story. I think this one's better. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And maybe, if you feel like supporting this channel, check out my book. Thank you.
Buy my book. Buy my book before it's too late, people.
We can't be free, can't have no peace till we're on the same team, but y'all are sheep. Glued to screens, just part of the machine.